this episode, we speak to Gabi, who's from Brazil and based in Tokyo.
It was an emotional journey for me because I wanted to stay with my baby. I wanted to help her. I wanted to cuddle her. I wanted to take care of her because she was so tiny. She was so small, but I could not because I was allowed just 2 hours per day while I was in the hospital.
She talks about how her health condition affected her pregnancy journey.
And he said, like, actually your liver is really not working very well. You have to be hospitalized as soon as possible.
And walks us through her solo labor during COVID.
All the staff, nobody could speak in English. So I tried to speak as much as I could, and because I was by myself, I was kind of lost of what should I do. I don't know exactly what should I do. So the nurses, they were very kind, but they did not give me too many instructions.
Hello and welcome to Birth Stories of Japan. I'm so glad that you got in touch. So you found us on Instagram, did you?
On Instagram, yeah. On Instagram.
Yeah, awesome.
I don't know how. I don't remember how. I just showed up on my feed, I guess.
Perfect. That's all I need to hear. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
I love that. So can I get a little bit of an introduction from you? So just a little bit about yourself and your family.
Okay, so my name is Gabriela, but everybody calls me Gabi everywhere I go. So, and my husband's name is Jeffter. We are Brazilians, and I have been living here in Tokyo for about 5 years. My husband has been living here for more than 10 years, so I think 12 years total.
Wow.
Yeah, he was already here when we got married. So we got married in Brazil. Our relationship was totally long distance relationship, and then we got married, and then I came here to live with him. We have a baby girl. She is 1 year and 6 months. Her name is Satsuki. And
Satsuki.
Yeah,
Nice.
Satsuki. We decided to give her a Japanese name. Even though we are Brazilians, we decided to give her a Japanese name.
Your pregnancy journey. So when you got pregnant with her, were you already in Japan? I'm guessing?
Yes. I was already in Japan because I came here in 2019 and I got pregnant in 2022.
Gotcha. So there was still a bit of COVID, like that was during COVID times.
Yes,
do you want to talk about your journey into pregnancy? So was it a smooth sailing ride to getting pregnant, or did it take a while?
It was. We decided in around 2021 that we were ready to have a baby. So, and then we started trying to have a baby, and it just happened. It was very easy for us. We didn't have to do anything. Just like a few months later, I discovered that I was pregnant. And so actually what happened is in 2021, in I guess October, from October to November of 2021, we went to Brazil to visit our parents, our families, and everything. And then when we returned very beginning of December of 2021, and we had to stay 2 weeks at home because of quarantine, the COVID requirements and everything. So I think 1 week after Christmas time, I started feeling some symptoms. I started feeling like a little bit of morning sickness, a little bit more tired. Sometimes I would eat something and did not feel right. So I decided to take a test, but without my husband knowing, because every month I would think I was pregnant. So for me, every month I would take a test.
Right. Okay. Okay. I see. So it wasn't a big deal. Like you had a feeling, but yeah, it wasn't a big deal. Maybe, maybe not.
Yes, exactly, exactly.
Gotcha.
And my husband was already getting tired of me always saying, "Oh, I think I'm pregnant." So I decided to take like by myself without him knowing that I was taking a test. And I think it was too early for the test, to show up that I was pregnant. So actually on the test, like it did not show, it showed negative, but I was still feeling like something. So I was like, a week later, I went to the doctor and she told me that I was pretty much pregnant. So,
Amazing. And then what was
yeah.
your pregnancy journey like from that point forward?
From that point, it was interesting because it was January of 2022 at that time. And when I discovered my pregnancy, it was, I think I was 8 weeks pregnant or something. It was kind of early, so I could not hear the heartbeat or anything yet. But I started feeling too kind of, I started vomiting too much and feeling very, very uncomfortable. And something that my husband noticed is that my eyes and kind of mostly my eyes were kind of yellow in
Mm. Oh, yeah, the whites of your
the
eyes.
yes, the white part of my eyes
Sure.
were yellow. So I went to the doctor one more time, another doctor. At first, the doctor just checked the baby and said, "Oh, the baby is fine. The baby is doing great and everything." But I was like, "But there's something wrong in my body in general because I can see that, my eyes are yellow." And she looked at me, "Oh, yes, it's yellow." And she got a little bit like shocked, like, "Yeah, it's yellow. Do you have yellow eyes or something?" I said, "No, no, that's not normal. That's not normal." And then she decided to take a blood test,
Mhm.
and then she really got scared because she saw that the
Mm.
levels of my liver,
Mm.
the levels, I don't know the levels of the
Yeah.
things, probably the
I'm not
hormones or
sure. Yeah,
whatever.
yeah, yeah. But something was off. Something was
Yes,
off.
yes, were very, very high. So it was very, very.
Okay.
My liver was not really working 100%. Actually, my liver was working at the time, I think 60 or 50% only. So she wrote a recommendation letter for me to go to a hospital, a local hospital, for me to get checked like more deeply. So I went to the doctor and I went with my husband because this doctor from the clinic, she could speak a little bit of English, so I could kind of communicate with her. But
What was the name of that clinic?
that clinic, I think, is Sho Hospital, is at Hitaku in Tokyo.
Okay,
Yeah,
nice.
yeah. And so I went to the hospital, Nihon Daigaku Itabashi Byoin. It's a university hospital. So I went there with my husband because then it would get too complicated for me to deal with the doctor, and emotionally also would be kind of difficult for me. So I said, "You have to go with me." So he went with me. I got examined and everything. And the doctor asked me, "Do you drink? Do you smoke? Do you how how is your life?" And said, "No, I don't do anything really excessively. I don't drink. I don't smoke. My it's normal. Yes, it's nothing really too much. I don't eat a lot of junk food or anything, so I don't really know what happened." And he said, like, actually, your liver is it's really not working very well, you have to be hospitalized as soon as possible. So, and I got really, really scared because it was a Japanese hospital. The staff did not speak English. My husband could not stay with me. I would have to stay all by myself, and it was a very difficult situation, and I was pregnant, so I was completely scared. He said, like, you come back in the morning, Friday morning, and you're going to be hospitalized. So I went home, packed my bags, and um try to stay calm as much as possible, knowing that I would have to return to the hospital the next morning to stay there. And he did not give me any deadline. So I just
Mm.
knew I would be hospitalized, and I did not know exactly. Yeah,
Oh
I
my
did not know what would happen.
goodness. Gosh, that would have been so chaotic feeling. Like, oh
It
my God,
was.
all of a
It
sudden.
was
Yeah.
because it was my first time ever in my life to be hospitalized. And now I was passing through this kind of situation in another country, with another language, dealing with, a different situation. So it was very, very, I could say stressful. I ended up staying for 1 month in the hospital. I took like medicine every day and blood test every day because they had to check my liver and my blood daily, constantly. But they were also checking the baby. So the baby was doing fine. Thank God the baby was doing fine because that was my main concern. But the doctor stated clearly that if he had to choose between the baby or me, if there was any situation, any complication with my liver, that he had to choose between me and the baby, he would choose me. So,
Do you know if it was caused by your pregnancy, or was this an underlying condition that only happened to show up while you were pregnant, or because you were getting checked up?
well, they don't say anything clearly. They did not say anything because at the time I was taking medicines for like asthma, so I had like a breathing problem. So I was taking for too long, like more than 2 years, taking the same medicine. I'm not saying that that's the cause, but maybe there was kind of a side effect from this medicine. Yes, and because I was pregnant, you know, my body just ended up showing this problem more clearly.
Yeah,
But we
sure.
don't know. I'm still being checked. Yeah, so every 2 months I have to go to the hospital just to make sure that my liver is working fine, which it is 100% good. It's just like
Oh, that's
precaution.
good. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that would have been so tough. And then how did it progress onwards from there? So you obviously got healthy and you were discharged from the hospital. How
Yes.
was it? What week were you when you got out, and how was it from that point onwards?
So 13 weeks, 13 weeks when I was discharged. But the rest of the pregnancy was good. I did not have any problems or anything. It was really, really smoothie and nice. I could go back to work, and I had to take care of my of what I was eating because of the liver and everything. I could not really eat anything like oily. I could not, yes, I could not eat junk food or anything like this. So I had to really monitor what I was eating. But the rest of the pregnancy was great. Actually, I was really hungry all the time.
I
I
feel
was
ya.
really, really hungry.
Pregnant or not, I feel ya.
Wow, that was, I think, the most difficult part for me during pregnancy because when I was in the hospital, I had a very limited diet because of the problem, the liver problem. And through this time that I was in the hospital, I lost weight actually because I could not eat. It's not that I could not eat; they did not allow me to eat as much as I wanted to. So I lost around 4 kilograms, I guess, which I got a little bit scared because I was like, in my mind, I was like, I'm supposed to gain weight. Why am losing? But the baby was fine. It's just like I was not getting enough food, I guess.
Yeah, of course. And then,
Yeah.
so I'd love to know, did you continue with your pregnancy checkups and then give birth at the Daigaku Byoen, or?
I did because they told me that because of the liver situation, I could not go to a normal clinic or a smaller hospital, a smaller clinic, or anything like this because they had to monitor my liver. So they asked me to stay in the same hospital. So yeah.
Yeah. And then, so do you want to take us then through the birth story now?
So it was another story because she was supposed to be born in September of 2022, but 1 month earlier, so I think it was August 7, around 6 or 7, I'm not sure. We went to the church because we are Christian, so we went to the church and we had a normal day. I was not feeling anything wrong in my body. Was everything was fine. And then we returned from the church and it was evening. And then I think 1 hour later, around 7 p.m. or 7 something, a lot of water came from my body. And I looked and I knew that the water could break and everything. I knew that. But because it was early, it was 1 month early than the time that she was supposed to be born. I look, I was like, oh my god, why am I peeing so much? I thought it was pee. So, and I noticed that a little bit of blood was coming out. Not too much, but a little bit of blood was coming out. So I got really scared. So we called the emergency of the hospital and they told us to go to the emergency. So we called a cab and we went to the hospital and the doctor said, your water broke. So you have to stay in the hospital because you entered into labor.
Yeah, something started. Yeah.
Yeah, something started in your body. I did not feel any contractions. I was not feeling any contractions during that time, but the water was already broke. And what was kind of complicated for me at the time is because I remember it when I stayed 1 month in the hospital. I got scared because of oh my god, all over again. I have to stay in the hospital. Yeah, I have to stay in the hospital by myself and everything. Here we go again. Oh my god. And around 3 a.m., I start feeling the pain. It was not too much, like too heavy or too painful, but I started feeling the contraction. So I called the nurse, and she started to monitor the baby's heartbeat, and everything was fine, everything was normal, but labor started, and I stayed there for I think around 31 hours. So from 3 a.m. Monday, I actually ended up giving birth Tuesday 10:30 a.m., which was very tiring. In the beginning, it was not too painful. I could handle. It was just the beginning. Throughout the day, from Monday, I started feeling a little bit more painful, more uncomfortable. But actually, what happened is that all the staff, nobody could speak in English. So I tried to speak as much as I could, but also, um, you know, when you are in labor, you are emotionally unstable. Everything is all over the place. Is a totally
Yeah.
unique experience. And because I was by myself, I was kind of lost of what should I do. I don't know exactly what should I do. So the nurses, they were very kind, but they did not give me too many instructions. So I was kind of in the dark in relation to information of what I should be doing, or if the uh if the labor was progressing, if dilation was progressing and things like this. I was kind of, in the dark. I was in a room with other women that would go back and forth, like they did not stay there. They stayed there just for deliver the baby, and then they would go somewhere else. I remember that in the afternoon, the woman right next to my bed, she started going into labor, really delivering her baby, and was like, please help me, I want to, because I was hearing her screaming and everything, and I wanted that as well because I just wanted to go to the next step. So Monday evening, I started feeling more contractions. They were a lot more painful. So they told me something like that. You are going to deliver your baby on Tuesday morning. So from now until Tuesday morning, you right now you're going to see a doctor, and the doctor is going to check your body, and they said that he would do something. I did not know what would happen. I was kind of okay, something is going to happen, but I didn't know what kind of procedure they would do. So I went to another part of the hospital. I got checked, and I noticed that something painful happened. I just noticed something painful happened, and from this part until Tuesday morning, I think until Tuesday around 8 a.m. Every time that I would want to go to the toilet, every time that I went sit on the toilet to pee or something like this, I would feel very uncomfortable to sit down. So something
Mm.
uncomfortable is happening. But I did not know what happened exactly because they did not tell me, or they did not ask me if I was okay with what they were doing, if I allowed this to happen. They did not say anything to me. On Tuesday morning, I think around 8 a.m., the same doctor came and checked me again. And I don't even know how to explain that, but he took, I think, a piece of metal from inside of me. So he had placed something inside of me, I think, to force dilation or
Mm.
something like this, and I had to stay with this throughout the night. And it was like I got a little bit surprised, a little bit scared, because I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, so that was inside of me. Okay, yeah, that's interesting. I was not
Mm.
expecting that.
Wow. Yeah.
So he had placed this metal instrument inside of me on Monday evening. So throughout the night, the contractions got much stronger and more consistent and everything. So, but I was getting very tired because that would be my second night without sleeping because I could not really sleep. Then what happened was that it was kind of 8 a.m. and after that was taken out of me, a nurse came and said, okay, so we are going to give you a medicine that will for sure speed up the contractions, and for sure you are going to deliver a baby right now. So they gave me the medicine, was the blood through IV, and I think I guess 30 minutes, 40 minutes later, I felt a very, very, very strong contraction, very strong contraction. Like my body was already pushing the baby by itself. I was not even thinking. I just felt a very strong contraction. Another nurse came and they said, you have to go to another room. was like, I cannot. I'm not moving. I'm not walking to the other room. And she said, no, you have to. You have to walk. So they helped me to go to the other room. It was like just across, like the hallway was not far at all. And then I seated like in the chair. And then there were like two more doctors over there. Luckily, one of them spoke English. So for the first time, a doctor who could speak English, he was there.
Perfect
Uh,
timing.
Perfect time. It was like, oh my God, thank you. God sent me this doctor to help me at this time. So I think three contractions like that came, and I was just pushing, and then she was born. So I could not even wait for the doctors to tell me like breathe and push or anything. It was just like I felt the contraction just pushed because my body was like doing it by itself already.
Awesome.
Yes, yes, yes.
And then, so how was your postpartum recovery from that point onwards? And also, when did your husband get to meet her?
So she was born, but she was born 1 month before the time she was supposed to be born. So because of that, she had to stay at ICU as soon as she was born. I remember that during checkups, I had signed kind of a term, a letter, an agreement saying that I wanted to hold my baby as soon as my baby was born. But I think I was so tired from, 31 hours, you know, of labor that the temperature of my body was kind of unstable. So because of that, they did not allow me to hold my baby. So I just saw her, I think 1 minute only. They took pictures of me looking at her. I wanted to hold her. I wanted to have this moment um, when you hold your baby and just feel your baby with you. But I just could look at her for 1 minute, and then they took her away. She was healthy, but she was born without the weight the minimum weight that they required. So when she was born, she was 2 kilograms, 2 kilograms and 90 grams. The minimum would be 2 kilograms and 200. So she had to stay 2 weeks away from me. So I went home. I stayed in the hospital for 1 week, and then she stayed 1 week more in the hospital. And for me, it was you know, kind of a shock, kind of scary as well. I know that in Brazil, when a person gives birth, this person stays with the baby, like beside the bed and everything. So they took my baby away, and I was allowed to see her just for, I think, 2 hours while I was in the hospital, 2 hours per day. And for me, 2 hours per day was nothing. I wanted to stay with my baby and everything. During those 2 hours, I tried to breastfeed her, but she was premature. So because of that, she was very sleepy. So every time that I would try to breastfeed her, she would like do it for, I think, 5 minutes, less than 5 minutes. I think 3 minutes or something like this, and then she would fall asleep. So, and like in my head, like in my mind, breastfeeding was really, really important. So I was like, I really want to breastfeed my baby. That was something that I wanted, a desire of mine as a mother. But I was also working inside of myself, thinking, okay, if I'm not able to breastfeed, at least I will give her my milk, my breast milk. And in a bottle, and it will be fine. At least she will be fine. She will be healthy. She will receive all the nutrients that she needs. It's okay. But then, so as soon as she came home from the hospital, me and my husband worked really hard for her to, latch and everything. And finally it happened. So I breastfeed her until now. I think I was so like I need to breastfeed her that somehow she learned. Uh, God helped her to learn how to latch and everything, and until now, to at night to go to sleep, she has to drink my milk.
Oh, I'm so glad that it all worked out. And
Yes.
then, so how was your recovery mentally?
It was an emotional journey for me because I wanted to stay with my baby. I wanted to help her. I wanted to cuddle her. I wanted to take care of her because she was so tiny. She was so small, but I could not because I was allowed just 2 hours per day while I was in the hospital. And while I was in the hospital, there was one day in which I think there was a COVID case, and they could not allow me to see her. So for me, that was really, really, really traumatic because those 2 hours were like the best thing of my day. So when they told me that I could not see her on that day, it was just depressing in a way for me. I cried so much. I cried so much, and I remember the nurses came coming to my bed and trying to talk to me. I was like, okay, I understand. I understand the rules of the hospital. I understand the policy and everything, but just leave me. I want to cry. I want to express my frustration. So I remembered I could not call my husband, but I remember, exchanging messages with him and saying how frustrated I was, how sad I was. I also talked to my mother and I told her how I was feeling and everything. So for me, it was a very, very hard moment when that happened. And then I got discharged from the hospital after that week. And because of COVID policy, I could not visit my daughter every day. So for this extra week that she stayed in the hospital, I could visit her just twice. And I think it was 15 minutes only each visit, so just like 30 minutes overall. So for me, that week was also very, very complicated emotionally for me. Right.
Sure. Oh, you're so, so strong for getting through that. You and Satsuki.
Yes, she
So,
is amazing.
yeah. Oh, that's so cool. And do you know how much your birthing experience cost you in the end?
If I'm not mistaken, we have received from the government around 420,000 yens, and we had to pay extra 350,000. So I think it was around 770,000 something.
Altogether.
Yes, altogether,
Right.
altogether, yeah.
It's bottle time. With you and your husband both being from Brazil, did you ever consider giving birth in your home country?
It was never an option for us.
Hmm.
Because uh well, we for us, we were living here. Our lives were in Japan, in Tokyo. So, you know, our families obviously they are in Brazil. It would be very helpful to be with them, but our lives were here, our house, everything, our jobs and everything, they are here in Tokyo. So it was never came across my mind to go to Brazil to give birth and then return.
Awesome. Perfect. Thank you. And I'll ask one more. Do you have any advice for mothers dealing with a separate health condition while being pregnant?
Wow, that's tough. You know, to be calm. I know that it sounds scary, when you are pregnant and then you receive those kind of news that you have a condition or you have health situation, there's something wrong in your body or something like this. The first thing that you think is, my baby, I need to protect my baby. But I would say first try to be calm, and then I would say for them to also focus on the baby, focus on the pregnancy, focus on the connection that you are creating with your baby. This is going to help you to go through this tough situation. This is going to help you to focus your mind on getting better.
Yeah,
So I think I
awesome.
would say that.
Gabby, I just want to say I am so glad that we got to connect and that we got to hear your story.
Thank you so much. I hope my testimony or everything that I shared here uh, somehow can help someone.
Yeah, for
Yes, it
sure.
was a pleasure. I listened to, I think, all episodes, and it's something so interesting because when I was pregnant, being a foreigner in a different country, in a different culture, sometimes it's kind of scary. Sometimes it's like, what should I do? Or you want to communicate with someone, you want to share your experience, you want to maybe listen to other experiences, and it's so amazing to have such a podcast in which you can get to know so many different and unique experiences and see that there are a lot of people going through this situation. There are a lot of people giving birth here. There are a lot of people, foreigners, giving birth in Japan, and it's okay. It's going to be okay. You are going to survive. Maybe it's going to be a challenge. Some situations uh, will be a little bit of a challenge for you, but it's okay. Just stay
100%.
calm,
Yes,
just
I
stay
love that.
calm.
Yes, and I
Yeah.
totally agree. And I'm so thankful that you were able to contribute your story as well, because I know that other mums out there will listen and they'll definitely be able to feel that connection with you towards their own journeys as well. So thank you.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure being here.
A huge thank you again to our guests for being brave and sharing their story. And also to you, our listeners. I really hope that you were able to take something from today's episode. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please subscribe and leave a rating and review. To stay up to date with Birth Stories of Japan and get all the behind the scenes content, you can follow us on Instagram at birthstoriesjp. And if you can share this podcast on to others as well, that would be a huge help. Lastly, if you're a mama in Japan and would love to share your story, please send an email to birthstoriesjp@gmail.com. Thanks again, and I'll see you on the next one.